This is Trial Time Podcast. We are on today with probably the most enthusiastic person I have ever met in my entire life. Simonetta, it is such a great joy to have you on. And before you say anything, let me get it all out. Boy, howdy. Model, writer, social influencer, TV star, entrepreneur. And it's all real. It's not any names that you just make up. This is the real deal with you.
Thank you.
So I tell you what, and then of course we have my co-host Sam Halfman from California. Sam, great to see you. But
Great
this
to be
lady
here.
today is amazing. I mean, absolutely amazing. And I want to start with her and Sam. My first question is modeling how you got into this, Simonetta? Is that how you did it?
I actually did, because when I was 16,
Wow.
I was working with my parents. They had a cultural center where they had people from all over the world. And I still remember this lady from Greece. She looks at me and she says, "But you know that you have the body of a model." And I never thought about it. My father is a medical doctor and my mother is a psychotherapist. They were doing seminars. They were doing, with people from all over the world. So I was always very interested in studying. I was in Italy. We have a high school that is called a classical high school. So where you study also Latin and ancient Greek, philosophy and all of that. So I always saw myself, doing those things. And when she told me that, I'm like, I never thought about it, but that sparked my curiosity, and I started to study as a model. And actually, that opened up so much, as you were saying, because so from modeling, then it opened up to the career of as an actress, and then as a host, but also, of course, all the more nerdy stuff, call it that way, are very, very helpful, because I'm also the brain behind all that you see, of course, together with my husband and my
Right.
team. So, you have to be able to push all together. So, but from a very practical point of view, yes, modeling started everything. That's
Well, how do you get into modeling? I mean, that's how do you get found, so to speak?
So when you are very young, usually, and I'm talking with all, the young girls and boys
Right.
to start, usually you look for an agency that would represent you. At my time, I also had to study how to do the catwalk. I don't know if they still do that, because people think it's so easy. It's very difficult. First of all, you have to have also, your brain has to be very sharp, because you might have to stay there for hours and hours and rehearse and be always on point. And so you have to work on your mind a lot. And then so you start usually, like I said, with an agency that will represent you. You start to do your first pictures, and they start placing you, they start pitching you for this casting, the other casting, and all of that. The beauty of nowadays with social media is that now you can kind of have that, but also bypass that if you want to, because you can kind of create your own brand. So I always say to people, because the modeling industry, I'll be very honest, it's very brutal. For the same, what I said, like you have to be very, focused. Sometimes you stay there, like you stay still with high heels for like 8 hours, and you wait and you wait and you wait and you wait. Also, there's a big problem. At least when I was young, I remember something that actually struck me that I always remember is that one of my coaches told me, "Oh, you have a perfect body, but if you want to be at the highest level, remember that for you, salads are the only thing that are going to be allowed." And I'm like, "Excuse me, I cannot eat." Basically, he literally told me you have to be anorexic. And I'm not, of course, saying that it's, like that everywhere, but there is, a little bit of that mentality that you have to be super,
Well, to us, to me anyway, I don't know about everybody, but to me anyway, it looks so easy. It looks like you show up, put on a dress, do the shoot with cameras or walk the walk, whatever, and you're gone within 10 minutes, and everything looks so easy and so, quick.
What's up?
Yeah.
But I want to chime in real quick.
Yeah,
because
sure,
you're
Sam.
just a model. You're an inspiration for a lot of people, right? In the fashion industry, in the social media world, everywhere. And because of that, I got to ask you.
Yes.
You must have watched the Grammys last night.
Yeah, I actually didn't. Can you believe it? I didn't.
No.
I didn't.
I was going to ask you who was the best dresser. I mean,
I don't know. I'm sorry I didn't. And this is also, so you have to know, whenever even you work in this environment, like we were talking with Jim, I'm so like, I literally, I end up like having probably a mid dinner at midnight. I didn't have breakfast, didn't have lunch. I keep on going. So sometimes I miss those appointments. Did you watch it?
Sure.
Was actually somebody that you liked?
I did watch it. I did watch it rather, yes. And
Okay.
I was fairly impressed. I noticed there was the 50th anniversary for hip hop
Okay.
in the United States. The
Yeah.
celebration of that. So they had a slew of
Yeah.
last 50 or so years of artists from the from the 70s to the 80s
Oh,
to
that's
the
so
so on and so
cool.
forth, early
Now you
90s,
want-
early
I need to
2000s.
watch it. I can
Yeah.
go.
You have to
Okay.
watch it. And then I'll ask you that question again later.
Again, yes.
On a different
See,
interview.
since we're talking about social media, that's the beauty. You can go and you can rewatch things. So to kind of go back to what we were saying, social media can be that platform and internet in general to kind of allow you to make your own brand. So I always say to girls, so yes, you might find that person that tells you if you want to make it, you have to be in certain rules, and that's why it is a brutal environment. But with social media, you can create your own brand. And if you are, I always say, you have to not give up, you have to continue, you have to create your own identity, and then start pitching yourself to brands. For instance, if you are in the curvy space, then you're going to pitch yourself to those brands. If you are, I don't know, you want to do hair, you want to do, so many things, and you can start pitching yourself to brands. So the entire world of modeling, since you were asking me, kind of changed, in my opinion, for the better, because of social media. Of course, I do appreciate the old times and the quality, my wish is that kind of the two worlds will bridge together, because of course I do remember the old style, like since we were talking about the old school also in hip hop, where you literally had to know your craft, and I understand why a lot of people in fashion got upset with the social media influencers, say,
Sure.
okay, these girls, they just show up and who are they, and so to James' point, I can see that way, and probably some of them also maybe show to the world that, but I can attest you that is kind of like a shortcut. In the long run, you have to know your craft. You have to be very well prepared.
But you shattered the ceiling. I mean, you didn't just stop there with your modeling and all the other good stuff that you do. You started your own show online. When I was reading about it and I watched a few episodes, I was very impressed.
Thank you.
Really impressed. I mean, within 3 years, you kind of just blew up, right?
But she's got the #1 show in podcast.
I know.
Yeah.
The number one.
We're
It's
doing
incredible. And she had
It's
Chong.
unbelievable.
What's his name? She had the guy from Chong on one of her episodes.
Yeah.
With Tommy Chong.
Oh my God, that was one of the best. It was cool.
Tell me you smoked a joint with him. No, I'm kidding. You don't have to tell me.
I'm sure he smoked before, for sure. He was very relaxed when he came. And actually, a lot of people don't know. I mean, I love you, Tommy. But he came actually one day after. It was like, I was already, hair and makeup already. And I'm like talking with him, trying, where is he? Oh, he's coming tomorrow. I'm like, oh, okay, but I'm ready now. The
Let's do it, Tommy.
I mean, but I love that interview. Tommy, by the way, is a very, very spiritual guy. We talked about God. I did not expect that. I thought that we would have talked about pot for like 40 minutes.
Yeah.
About pot for a little bit. But we also talked about, God and all the perseverance and all the hard work that he also had to put in order to become Tommy Chong. Again, people do see just the cover. They don't know all the work that is behind.
Well, I want to move next, and I want to throw one word out, and then you take it from there.
Mm-hmm.
Ready?
Yes.
Wish wall.
Wish wall. Wish wall is my baby.
I know. Tell me about it.
So the Wishful started as the Wishful first, and then it became the Wishful Foundation.
All right.
Since we were talking about modeling and how it brought everything together, at that point I was in Italy, I was living in Italy, and Vanity Fair called me because they knew me as a model, but I also released my first book. It was called Everything is Possible, and it was published by Mondadori, which is like Penguin, is the biggest publishing house in Italy.
Wow.
So because of the book, and then because of my modeling career, they said, what if, we put kind of these two messages together, and also you are also an actress, And I had the idea, can I put all together with also interviewing celebrities about, their wishes and how actually, like we were saying, the mindset, how they make them, happen. So that is really how it started. And I started with first, it was a writing column for Vanity Fair. And then it became, again, a video interview. I was one of the first to do, what now it's the selfie style. I had a tablet and I was going around Milan City in Italy with all these Italian celebrities with this selfie, with this camera in front of me. And so I was, they were saying that I had good guns because I had to hold it, very steady and all of that. And then I started to do some radio with them. So that's how I started. It just that the concept was how, you make your wishes come true. So that part was beautiful and somehow also was very inspiring for what I'm doing now. But in the meantime, I was kind of lacking the communication with the everyday people and their dreams and how, they are about making them come true. And so I said, why don't I create kind of a blog at the beginning, it was really a blog where people can come on and write, their own wishes. And I can see if I can grant them, or maybe some other people will say, you know what, I can make that happen. I can help you out. And that's just really how it started. And then when I moved to Philadelphia, we did a big event with the city of Philly. They really believed in me. And that's when I had to create the Wishful Foundation, because I started to receive so many wishes and I had to be established and I wanted to help as many people as possible. And so it became the Wishful Foundation, a 501c3 that I currently run. And we do what I call meaningful wishes all around the world. At the very beginning, like I said, it was like a blog. And so people were really telling me, oh, I want to meet my idol. I want to, there were wishes that were more, every wish is great, but I'm more earthly, simple, call it that way. And then I said, but I want to do big things. And so I started to, allow everybody to write their own wish, but the wish that I personally grant are the one, like, for instance, we're doing now a remodeling of a library in Africa. So start to finish completely it's going to serve around 500 children. We've done a beautiful remodeling of medical center for 800 people. We gave to a program of girls computers and educators so that they can actually become basically learn how to work with social media and become independent, and so on and so on. So yes.
Oh, incredible.
It is.
Thank you so much. But see, like you were talking before, I want to incentivize people. You can have, one plan, but my father always taught me resilient mind are the minds that, really keep on bringing you forward in this world, especially nowadays, and being able also to kind of merge more languages together. In this case, again, I started as a model and as an actress, and I ended up writing a book, and then now I have a non-for-profit. Now I have so do not limit yourself, with one thing.
That's a great thing. Now, being that you're from Italy, okay? Yeah. I do want to ask, how are you in Gucci?
With Gucci?
Yeah.
Well, so I always love Gucci. Oh, yeah. I have a little bit of a problem nowadays because the Gucci brand looks that is also behind Balenciaga. And
Balenciaga, right?
No, I'm sorry. Well, there are being, I'm actually, I want to understand if Gucci is really involved with this, but for my understanding, they are behind the brand, and what happened, it's just not excusable. It just no go. I mean, they cannot come and tell us that, that was okay, that was just a mistake. You don't do those mistakes. I work in this environment. I'm sorry, but those mistakes are not acceptable. So
speaking of Balenciaga,
yes,
and I'm sorry to interrupt you. You'd be surprised how many celebrities yesterday at the Grammys that were just Balenciaga out from head to toe. It was insane to me because you're a model, you're famous, you're a celebrity, but you're taking a stance against it. But all these other people seem not to care, which is kind of mind-boggling.
And I don't understand it because the people, people are seeing, and I'm talking nowadays, with the fellow celebrities and people, that should be there to influence people. They're watching you. Don't do that. We have to stand up for right things. You don't exploit children. I'm sorry. You just don't do that. So that's just my point of view. And I know that a lot of people have actually going through the post of people that keep on supporting. Again, I don't want to, I hate the cancel culture, but I want to see a change. I want to see, like, again, okay, you're saying that you're sorry. I don't know. I want to see how.
Something more.
Yes.
Something more.
Yes.
So what do you recommend? What do you recommend for innocent bystanders like myself that own a couple of Balenciaga items, like the shoes that I have? They're fairly expensive. Should I toss them? Should I donate them? Should I burn them? What should I do?
In my opinion, maybe you try to sell them, make some money so that you can donate it to someone that is.
There you go.
Good advice. Very good
I
advice.
also saw some people just, breaking them. And I was like, that's a waste. I mean, it's still, money that you spend. You can sell them and use that money to make something good. That's my take on it. And again, I'm not for canceling. I hope the Balenciaga will come around with this. But I also hope that people will take a stand. Like we have, as a society, if we don't defend our children, where are we going?
You're exactly correct.
Right.
Correct. Exactly correct. Well, we owe you this today, I believe. And if I'm wrong, please correct me. But happy 21st birthday.
Right? Yeah.
21. I was gonna say 19 or 18.
Well, I was going up a little bit. I didn't want to, jump.
At least I can drink, right? If it gives it 21.
Okay, all right.
21. I mean,
I can have a prosecco.
Wait, models drink only champagne, right?
And you were married to your wonderful husband back when you were 12. So
Correct. We've been married for 8 years. Can you believe
8 years?
Yeah.
Congratulations.
And we've been together for over 17. We've been together.
Is he Italian also?
So he is 100% Italian. He was born in Jersey, but he has family in Italy. It was going kind of back and forth. So he basically ended up until college in America, but then he had a lot of family in Italy. And so he knew the language. When I met him, we both were in Milan, Italy. And he came to Italy with the idea, let me actually refresh my language because, again, he used to speak with the grandparents, but then they passed away. So he wanted to stay a couple of months, and he stayed almost 10 years.
Wow.
So, yeah.
10 years.
And you've got an anniversary coming up.
That's very true. That's
wow.
Because we got married the same day, my birthday, same day as the marriage, and then also my parents got married on that same day. So that I thought that it was like kind of unique because I was born, honestly, it was the 7th anniversary of marriage of my parents when I was born. And so I thought it was kind of magical.
Wow.
Yes.
Tradition.
Are you going to play the lotto? Are you going to play those numbers for the lotto?
She should. If she isn't, I'm going to.
Right? I should.
Maybe I will too.
Yeah.
7 everywhere.
Well, I asked you earlier when we were just chatting, I asked you, how in the world do you have time for a husband when you've got all this going on in your life? I mean, I guess it takes somebody like you, extraordinary, to pull all that off and to keep everything going and to keep him happy.
2 things.
Okay.
First, like we were mentioning before, we used to not work together, and then we got to a point and said, let's work together. So at least we can see each other and we can, share this passion.
Right.
And also this is, again, I know that family businesses, a lot of people love them, a lot of people hate them. My experience, if you work on yourself and you trust your spouse, it's the best thing ever because who's better than your spouse? So you have, of course, to be kind of focused because, again, one thing is your work, one thing is your marriage, so that can be a little bit tricky. And also my husband is teaching me very well to kind of get to a point and close it for the day because my mind will keep on going. And he says, okay, now you sit down, we watch a movie, we have some pizza together, we have some pasta together, like just
Do you actually have time to watch TV? You actually have time to watch TV?
A little bit, very late at night. Very late at night usually. We watch maybe a movie around 11 or some, and many times I'm like, oh, I forgot to eat.
Well, we always close out with this, and we're going to ask you a question. We call it a trial time
Okay.
But sometimes the trials are not just in a courtroom. The trials are with people growing up, and something that you maybe have overcome in your life of a trial or tribulation that you went through. So we always ask, and we'll ask you, what trial or tribulation comes to mind that you went through? How did you overcome it?
Interesting question.
Yes.
Well, the first thing that there are many, of course, but
Sure.
the thing it was when I immigrated to this country, I immigrated legally to this country. I did everything right. It was a lot of people have no clue. So they think, oh, your husband was born in America, right? Should be easy. It's not. It's very complicated. It took me like 5 or 6 years to have everything in place. I remember all the tribulation of literally having to say to my parents, I'm sorry, I cannot come back home because, my lawyer is telling me if you really have to go, go. But if you can wait, will be better. You never know you're going to have a problem. Then, of course, imagine we came to this country, we had to restart a life completely. So my husband was also working over Italy. So, he had to we were both entrepreneurs, but at that time we needed like a steady job so that he could show that he could support me because I couldn't work. Maybe people don't know, but when you come to America, you need your visa, you need your green card to be able to work. Actually, they give you first another card that will allow you to work, and then you get the green card, and then you can apply for citizenship. So now I'm a proud American as well. Again, it has been like a lot of, tribulation and a lot of like moments. I'm like, am I okay? I literally remember that limbo moment. I cannot go back to Italy. I cannot travel. I cannot do anything. And finally, they gave me my citizenship in 2020, and they decided to close the country. So still, I couldn't go back.
I don't want to laugh at that. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's just terrible. Yeah.
Yes. So again, for a lot of people that don't know all that it's, behind it, you need a lot of things, to be put in place. And of course, I had to restart a life. Imagine I was in Italy doing my thing, but then we wanted to have a life here. I had to, make myself known. Nobody knew me. So I had to restart from scratch, from my social media. Then, of course, the foundation, like we were talking, and then all the project that, one after another, after another. Of course, you go to a different country. You don't really know what is going to happen. So I put myself out there, and that's what I say every time to people, put yourself out there. Like I was talking before, if you're a young model, if you're a young entrepreneur, somebody that is looking at us, put yourself out there. Worst case scenario, they'll tell you no. That's the worst that can happen.
Well,
that's
that's great advice, because I think a lot of times people have dreams.
Yes.
But the difference is they don't take the risk that goes with it.
Absolutely.
And obviously, from what you just said, it was kind of risky to just pick up,
Very.
move,
Very.
new country. People didn't know you at that time.
Yeah.
And did you ever feel like quitting?
Yes. And thanks actually to my husband, like I was saying before, he's a big inspiration. He gives me those limits, those healthy boundaries of a family. And I always say, how important it is to have those values, those moments, because he told me, okay, maybe right now you're overthinking it. Calm down, go to bed, sleep it over, and tomorrow it's another day. So, and that is, a good advice that I will give to people, especially nowadays. I mean, reality is so heavy for a lot of people. We're coming, through 3 years of a lot of hardship for all of us. And so I always say that is one of my favorite things that I've learned along the way. When you are tired, just learn how to rest and not to give up.
Thank you. Sam, anything in closing?
I'm so impressed.
Yeah.
I wish we had more time with you. Honestly, I've just in a short period I spent with you, I've learned so much.
Yeah.
You are a true inspiration, not just to young girls. I think to everyone,
everybody,
including myself.
Yeah.
And what we're a bunch of lawyers, right? And the fact that you just moved again to another country, no English, nothing, and did it all, incredible. My hat's off to you.
My hat's off. Absolutely.
Thank you so much. Well, you mentioned also the language. Of course, my first language is Italian. When I came to this country, I already had a good usage of English. But hey, one thing is when you study in school, one thing is when I remember the very first time I came to America, I was like, what are they saying? I don't understand anything. And then, you learn, like, for instance, one beautiful thing that we have in English are phrasal verbs. And nobody, really think about it, but there, like it's something typical to the English language and that no other language has. And so, you can change completely the result of a phrase with like, I don't know.
So we left off, like I said, I apologize. This has never happened. We've never had a guest that just went over and everybody was just so thrilled with talking to you that didn't pay attention to what was going on, but I apologize.
Well, eventually, whenever they're editing this, they can just maybe cut out the last, but just, have them whenever they feel cut it. And then now we can do a nice closing.
If I tell them that, some of that, they're going to cut me out. So not you. Okay. But we did leave off with, and we want to finish it up and let you get on to something else, and Sam too. But I do want to finish up because we didn't get through with, the trials and tribulations that you'd gone through coming to this country and how you got over that and how long it took. And people don't realize sometimes that people that have this glorious life sometimes have a few glitches that come up.
There's a lot of glitches. Like people, like we were saying before, they see the final product,
Right.
and there's so much work behind the final product. In my case, was literally leaving everything, literally everything. And I always say to people, if I can be an inspiration, because I'm a normal person. I still consider myself the same girl that grew up in that little, place in Italy that, one day decided with her now husband, back then, boyfriend, we weren't even engaged back then. And we said, you know what, let's do this. And, of course, like we were talking before, you have to have your mind sharp, you have to calculate things, but sometimes also do that thing that, it's kind of crazy. Well, you got to take a risk in life. And, I was still young enough and I said, let's do it. But in my opinion, it's never a matter of age, it's a matter of, whatever. Because to me, that is just, stupid, identity that we have in our, birth certificate. But at the end of the day, we have to see what we want to do and really having those wishes and inspirations and go for it. Like we were talking before, if you don't even try, if you're so afraid of rejection, you're never going to succeed. And yeah, they told me no many times, like they told no too many other times. But then there's going to be that person who's going to say yes. You, like we were saying before, you learn how to rest, not to give up. We all have a bad day. Good to go to bed. Think through it and don't take, irrational decisions. So I think that you as lawyers can teach us that very, very well. But, because sometimes you're, into the tribulation of the situation and you want to, I don't know, do crazy things and you have to think it out.
Breathe. Just breathe.
Sam, anything else from you before we close out today? Anything on your mind?
I am just impressed and very, very happy to be part of this incredible interview that
thank you.
Time just flew by, honestly.
Yeah.
I learned so much from Simonetta. You're not just an inspiration to young girls, I think everybody, including myself, and social media influencers across the board, people that are looking to do content creation, actors, actresses, models. I think you've done it all. You've accomplished so much at such a young age.
Thank you.
I'd love to do this again in about maybe 1 year to see what more you've done. Maybe you'll run for office or something. Maybe you'll be a senator or something, Not a president, but a senator.
Senator. Well, I tell you what, Sam, you and I are lawyers, and we never leave the show without giving out some legal advice. So, Simonetta, I'm going to give you this legal advice to you today that's going to change your life. You ready?
Yes.
Because it is your anniversary, okay, pick up the phone, call Ferrari and order your husband a brand new red Ferrari with the tan leather inside, okay? And that will change your life, I promise you. That new Ferrari delivered to your husband.
I'm gonna take this legal advice from you.
Thank you.
I will be happy.
Yes, absolutely. And so will he when he gets that car. Listen, thank you so much for your time and indulging both Sam and I. And we sure appreciate it. Yes. God bless you.
I appreciate you.
Good luck to you in the future. Thank you.
Absolutely.
I-
See you soon.
Just followed you on Instagram, so thank you so much.
Yes,
Yes.
yes. Amazing. Thank you so much.
Arrivederci.
Arrivederci. Bravo. Ciao, ciao.
Uh,